Welcome to Vo's Hockey Show. It's another episode. Let's get started. I was talking with Josh Wallace from The Josh Wallace Show about different topics that I could have for the show. And he was like, you need to compare players. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Like from the past and then from the present. And he goes, you should compare Jeremy Roenick to Paul Kariya, because we were talking about Paul Kariya because my bro Richard is a big Paul Kariya fan and I'm Jeremy Roenick, and Josh was like, you should compare the two, and I'm like, there's not much to compare. But then after I started comparing, there's lots to compare, a lot of similarities. In my research, I couldn't find any pictures with Jeremy Roenick and Paul Kariya until I finally found one. It's a little blurry. It's on the screen right now. It's Roenick with the Kings and Kariya with the Predators, both with an assistance patch on their jersey. That's pretty sweet. I knew they had to have played each other a couple times, but the only thing I could find was this one blurry picture. That's okay. So let's start comparing. This is Rink Rivals on the Vo's Hockey Show. First up is Paul Kariya. Paul Kariya, total NHL games played, 989. Complete goals in the NHL, 402. Total assists, 587. And total points, 989. Versus Jeremy Roenick. Total games, 1,363 games played, 513 goals, 703 assists, and 1,216 total points. All these stats were provided by NHL.com. You can go there and find out more stats about Jeremy Roenick and Paul Kariya, along with your favorite players that have ever played the game. So I know you're thinking, Vo is a Roenick fan, so he's going to completely be on Roenick's side. Not 100% true. And we're also not going to say, hey, this player was better than the other. We're just breaking them down in stats, having a good old time. Now, according to hockeyreference.com, we're going to break down some of this stuff. First of all, we have Paul Kariya. He was born 10/16/1974. Born in Vancouver, Canada. His rookie year was 1994-95 season. He played for the Ducks for 9 seasons, the Blues for 3 seasons, the Predators for 2 seasons, and 1 season with the Avalanche. Paul Kariya is a Hall of Famer. He was drafted first round, 4th number overall. And that information is brought to you by hockeyreference.com. You can check out Hockey Reference. Gives you lots of stats about your favorite players as well. Going into Jeremy Roenick, born 1/17/1970. Boston, Massachusetts is his hometown. He was first round overall, 8th pick overall. Roenick played for the Blackhawks for 8 seasons. Coyotes for 6 seasons, Flyers for 3 seasons, Sharks for 2 seasons, and the Kings for 1 season. His rookie year was 1988-89. Stathead.com breaks down both these players. Both games played their rookie season was 40 games played. Paul Kariya had 20 goals. Jeremy Roenick had 10. Paul Kariya had 13 assists, where Roenick had 16 assists. Overall points, 33 for Paul Kariya, 26 for Jeremy Roenick. Both players are well respected in the NHL. Jeremy Roenick did play a little bit longer. I think that if Paul Kariya would have played longer, I think these two would have been juggernauts. And I think Paul Kariya would have gotten pretty close to that 500 goals as well. I mean, Roenick was a big guy. Kariya was a small guy. But they both loved the game. They both had really bad injuries due to beast defensemen. April 3rd, 1995, Darian Hatcher smacks into Roenick, hits his knee, Roenick flips around, hits the ground on the ice. And then June 7, 2003, Paul Kariya gets smacked by the beast of a man, Scott Stevens, knocks him flat on the ice during a conference final game, makes it to where he couldn't play. Both the players, Roenick and Kariya, were hit by juggernaut defensemen. The game back then was way different. When Roenick started in 88 versus Kariya in 94, even in that point of time, the game had changed a little bit. Both players played in a league in the NHL when the game was really hard-hitting and a lot of the rules were kind of thrown out the window. It was grit. Lots of fights happened. But you don't see that as much anymore. Also, Paul Kariya and Jeremy Roenick both were commentators. Paul Kariya actually commentated on Mighty Ducks 3 movie. He was a guest commentator. Jeremy Roenick was an NHL analyst until he did stupid stuff. He said things on the internet or on TV, whatever it was. I'm not going into the politics of all that nonsense. Speaking of Mighty Ducks 3, let's talk about the history a little bit. The Mighty Ducks started off as a Disney movie. A lot of people made fun of it. A lot of people thought, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. No one ever thought they were going to make an NHL hockey team out of it. They made the NHL team, which started being one of the greatest NHL logos and one of the greatest sports logos in history. To where the time that we lived, Starter picked it up. They made jackets out of it to where it was one of the most sought after hats and shirts and jerseys. To this day, they're still reprinting that stuff. And the Mighty Ducks, well, now the Ducks, are starting this coming season. They're returning to the original logo, but it's tweaked just a little bit. So Paul Kariya was on that Ducks team, the Mighty Ducks team, wearing that crest during that whole time. So I thought that was pretty cool to talk about because it's a part of history in the NHL and it's a part of sports history as well. And like I mentioned earlier, Jeremy Roenick was an analyst. He was a reporter. He reported when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. I remember watching it when he was talking about it. He started crying because he never had a Stanley Cup. He wasn't crying because he was mad and sad. It was joyful. He had tears. He was crying on screen, And he was a part of the legendary team in the 90s. And he made to where I loved hockey, turned on the TV, saw the Blackhawks playing, saw Roenick play, and I fell in love with hockey that day. And I found my favorite player that day as well. The Chicago Blackhawks will always be my favorite team. Even if the Oklahoma City franchise comes to play, Blackhawks will still be my favorite team. Me and Josh Wallace at the Josh Wallace Show were talking about that the other day. That who would you root for if Oklahoma City got a team? And I was like, I would still be a Blackhawks fan. Been a Blackhawks fan since the 90s. I always will. Since the 90s, I have been a sports card collector. And just in the last couple of years, I've gotten back into collecting. The Josh Wallace Show will give you all the information you need to know about collecting. Also, cardladder.com. Go there, download the free app on your mobile device, track your favorite player, how their card is selling. Also, check out the joshwallaceshow.com. There, you will find links to Josh's personal collection and to the sports card shop that is now on exclusively eBay. So check out the joshwallaceshow.com. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Rink Rivals on Vo's Hockey Show. Tell me your favorite part. Also, what player should I review next on Rink Rivals? Comment below. Other NHL comments or any other hockey stuff, let me know what you want to hear, guys. I'm here for you. I appreciate you guys listening to Vo's Hockey Show, a part of the Josh Wallace Show Network. Like, subscribe, make the world go round. Peace.